You can't build that fence without HOA approval. She screamed that, marching right at me, gravel spitting under her shoes, face red enough to match the brake lights on her SUV. I remember the way the sunlight hit her sunglasses, those big bug-eye things, hiding whatever expression was under there. I just set down my post-hole digger, wiped my muddy boots, and said, as calm as you please, "Ma'am, this land isn't in your HOA." She lost it. Dialed the cops right there, fingers stabbing her phone, so hard I'm surprised it didn't shatter. Big mistake, as it turned out. Picture this. I'm covered in sawdust, old Ford idling, scent of cedar thick in the morning air, when those red and blue lights flicker down my drive. Now, if you've ever had police pull up to your property over a neighbor's squabble, you know the feeling, that mix of annoyance and, honestly, a little bit of dread, even when you know you're in the right. Officer climbs out. She's already on her lawn, arms crossed like a traffic barrier, smirk spreading. "Officer, trespassing and illegal building," she barks, voice loud enough for the whole street. I reach into my truck, hand him this crinkled 1962 deed, yellowed with time, edges soft as old flannel. That changed everything. Cop's eyebrows shot up. Her smirk? Gone. I think her sunglasses actually slid down her nose. Now, I know what you're thinking. What would you do if an HOA Karen called the cops and then got absolutely owned right in front of her prize rose bushes? Go on, drop your wildest HOA revenge story down there. I want to hear it all. I read every one. Best gets pinned, just because that's fair. Anyway, the name's Dutch Morrison. I've been working this stretch of land longer than most folks in Willowbrook Estates have been alive. Third-generation surveyor, weekend woodworker, and if you ask a certain very angry HOA president, I'm now apparently public enemy number one. My granddad bought these 47 acres in 1962 for $847 in back taxes. Can you imagine? Less than $1,000 for what people now call premium development opportunity. Gramps was smart. Kept every single scrap of paper the county handed him, every faded survey map, every carbon-copied letter. Thank God for that. My cabin, built by him, right on the edge of the property. Smells like pine and coffee and old leather. There's always sawdust in the air, flannel shirts in the closet, and quiet, or at least there was. I fix my own truck, grow vegetables out back, and mind my own damn business. That was the Morrison way. Worked for us for nearly 60 years. Then suburbia rolled in like a bad weather front. 2018, Pinnacle Development swept through, buying up farmland for their estates, which in plain English means 23 identical houses with granite countertops and HOA contracts thicker than the phone book. For maybe $600,000 apiece. Every buyer signing away $350 a month for community enhancement. Not a clue what was in the fine print. And that's how Bethany Kensington Walsh, age 48, ex-realtor and full-time neighborhood dictator, landed next door. White BMW, manicures every week, the kind of person who honks at kids crossing the street. She patrols like she owns the joint, heels clicking, sunglasses on, looking for lawns an inch too long or cars parked 10 minutes past curfew. I swear you can hear her nails tapping on the steering wheel before you even see her. Things were peaceful enough at first. The new neighbors tried to outdo each other with barbecue smoke and 80s classic rock. Not my taste, but hey, they own the land well, sort of. When your dinner starts vibrating from someone's portable speaker 3 football fields away, you realize, time for a fence. 6-foot cedar, nothing fancy, but the wood still smelled like Christmas. I'd already cut the posts. The morning I started digging, Bethany swooped in. Perfume, spandex, head held high like she was marching into court. "You can't erect structures without HOA approval," she snapped. I wiped my brow, took a breath. "Ma'am, this isn't your HOA. My land's not part of Willowbrook." She did that laugh. You know, the one people do when they think you're slow, or maybe just stubborn. "Everything in this area falls under our standards." You need approval. Review. Applications. Fees. She stood there, radiating entitlement, waiting for me to blink. I just told her, this land was Morrison before your community was even a rumor. Her smile twitched. Something ugly showed in her eyes for a second. She muttered about property values, then spun on those heels and stomped off. Next day, bright orange violation notice, duct taped right to my fence post. $500 daily fine for unauthorized construction. I held it up to the sunlight right under my grandfather's old oak and laughed. Filed it in my interesting documents folder. See, what Bethany didn't know was my granddad didn't just buy the dirt. He bought everything under it, too. The kind of paperwork that lawyers love to forget until it bites them. I figured I'd let her dig her own hole for a while. 3 days later, she calls an emergency HOA board meeting. Democracy, right? 5 retirees packed into her living room, rubber stamping her vendetta. Jim Patel, my neighbor, came by that night, shifting from foot to foot like the bearer of bad news. Dutch, she's got pictures of your place. She called it a ramshackle eyesore that threatens property values. That cabin, the one built by Gramps, still standing solid while half the new houses already have foundation cracks. Yeah, eyesore. Sure. Her board meeting lasted 12 minutes. She argued like she was at Nuremberg. 5 heads nodded. Then came the next attack. County inspector, clipboard in hand, shows up the following morning. Carl Novak. Good guy. Actually worked boundary disputes with Gramps when I was a kid. But hey, duty's duty. Got a complaint about unpermitted structures, he says, while Bethany lurks 15 feet behind, phone glued to her hand, maybe live tweeting her expected victory. Funny thing about HOA presidents, they think cops and county inspectors jump when they snap their fingers. But reality doesn't work like that. I take Carl out back, show him the old survey markers, tiny metal pins set by my granddad when Eisenhower was president. Boundaries that predate everything you see by decades. Carl measures, checks maps, scratches his head. He leans in. You realize what this means? I just nod. Let's see how far she wants to push. Bethany? She's not happy. Her voice gets shriller every time Carl mentions original boundaries, ancient technicalities, irrelevant paperwork. Carl finishes, tells her, I'm not seeing violations here. Owner's within his rights. Her face goes pale. But that wasn't the real twist. Carl pulls me aside before he leaves. Dutch, you should dig into your grandfather's old files. I think there's more to this story. Bethany overhears, eyes narrowed. What kind of conspiracy are you two running? I just smile, keep setting my fence posts, humming home on the range. Bethany promises to escalate to higher authority. She doesn't get it. Bullies don't realize they're outgunned until the last second. That night, I crack a beer on my porch, watch the sun slip through the oaks. You can feel the whole neighborhood shifting, people peeking out windows, wondering what comes next. It comes fast. 2 days later, certified mail, thick envelope. Cease and desist, legal threats, lawsuit talk, all from a cousin's law firm. The letter's copied to every single mailbox in Willowbrook. 23 families get a front row seat to our private feud. She's got them all riled up, scared for their property values. Concerned neighbors meeting at her house, wine and cheese, hush talk about the crazy hermit with his dangerous construction project. While she's out stirring panic, I'm in my cabin with bolt cutters, finally opening Gramps' old filing cabinet. Hadn't touched it since the funeral. Musty paper, mothballs, decades of files. Property surveys, tax records, even letters to county officials. And then mineral rights retention papers. Water rights. Development easements that never got terminated. Turns out, Gramps bought the dirt but kept everything under it. Most folks never realize, but property can be sliced like a cake, top layer, bottom layer, and all the bits in between. Pinnacle bought surface rights, slapped up their houses, but never bothered with what was underneath. So every foundation, every pipe, every foot of their community is sitting on rights I inherited. Monday, Sheriff's Deputy Martinez shows up. Bethany called in reinforcements. She's on the lawn, arms crossed, phone pointed at me like a weapon. Martinez is polite, even apologetic. I invite him up on the porch, lay out Gramps' deeds, maps, wax seals. Takes him a minute. Meanwhile, Bethany's yelling, demanding arrests. "Ma'am, we're going to need time to verify this documentation," he finally says. Her face, all the blood gone. She stammers, "He's lying, this is fraud." Cops leave. Neighbors start asking questions. Real questions. Bethany? She gets frantic, calling Pinnacle, but they went bust 6 months after finishing Willowbrook. Bankruptcy lawyers, unpaid bills, nobody home. She pivots to the media. Channel 7 News van rolls in, reporter in tow. Dangerous squatter threatens innocent families. I watch her sob for the camera, then invite the reporter in, lay out all Gramps' documents. Reporter gets real interested, real fast. Turns out, Pinnacle played fast and loose, sold what they didn't really own. As the story spreads, the neighborhood cracks into 3. Team Bethany, Team Research, and Team Ostrich. That fancy pool? Clubhouse? Turns out, they might sit on land my family owns. People start worrying about title insurance, legal protections, the works. Then comes the bombshell. The reporter uncovers letters Gramps wrote in 2019, offering to work out a proper easement before all this started. Pinnacle ignored him, thought he'd just die off quietly. He did pass, and left me with a claim against a ghost company and 47 acres of leverage. Bethany's in full panic mode now, calling meetings, firing off threats, trying to hold on to power. I start reaching out to neighbors, the Patels, the Johnsons with the chickens Bethany hates, the Martinez family. Turns out, they're just as sick of her as I am. Vegetable gardens, chicken coops, a few extra cars. Nothing crazy, but all against her aesthetic standards. I build a quiet alliance. Game cameras go up. Every HOA patrol trespass, documented, time-stamped, uploaded. Every fine, every threat, every bogus enforcement action, recorded. Here's what nobody tells you about property disputes. Documentation beats drama. Every time, courts love evidence, not shouting. Reporters building a full-on documentary. HOA overreach, property rights, the whole saga. Bethany steps up her campaign. Anonymous county complaints, flyers accusing me of everything but arson, private investigator digging into my family. Even tracks down my daughter in Portland, tries to get her fired with rumors about me. That's when I lose my patience. No more compromise. My lawyer files for full rights enforcement, harassment damages, the works. The neighbors rally. The Johnsons, the Patels, even a few who'd been on the fence, all back me up. The Patels' garden fines reach $500 a day. Mrs. Johnson's daughters cry over their chickens. Bethany's threats only make us dig and harder. Thursday night, the big emergency meeting. Bethany has private security at the door. Her cousin's company, 2 ex-military types who look like they'd rather be anywhere else. The reporter's crew sets up in the back, neighbors packing the room, tension thick enough to chew. Bethany stands at the front, voice a half-octave too high. "This man," she points, "has threatened our community. He's dangerous." People mumble, unsure. Then my lawyer walks in, process server with him. They serve her a restraining order, defamation suit, harassment charges. The deputy steps forward, backs it up. Bethany melts down, screaming, "It's all a setup. He's a liar." Then I walk up with Gramps' 1962 deed, hold it up for everyone. "This is who owns this land. This is what your HOA board missed. You bought houses on land the developer never fully purchased. I'm not here to kick you out. I'm offering a conservation deal. Keep your homes, protect what's left of the forest. No more HOA tyranny." She loses it, swings at the deputy, gets cuffed and let out, still yelling about her community. That was it. Bethany's reign over. Reporter wraps up the live feed. Neighbors filing out in stunned silence. Phones buzzing. Within a week, she's charged with assault, harassment, bribery. Loses her real estate license. Husband files for divorce. Properties start going into foreclosure. Meanwhile, Willowbrook changes. The families choose the conservation option. Monthly fees cut in half. Managed by a trust, not a dictator. Vegetable gardens, chickens, sensible rules. The Patels run the new board. My daughter moves back, helps set up an education center. Kids run where Bethany once measured grass with a ruler. Property values? Up, not down. People like the idea of living next to a real forest, not just a strip of sod. Bethany does 90 days, 2 years probation, pays damages. Works retail now, last I heard. No more power trips. And you know what? Sometimes justice really does feel like breathing fresh air after a long storm. Sometimes standing up for what's right, even when it means taking on the whole damn HOA, is worth every headache. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line between protecting your home and fighting back against power-hungry bullies? Is there ever a point when you'd walk away, or do you dig in and stand your ground? I want to hear your stories. Tell me about your own run-ins with HOA power trips, neighborhood drama, or that one time you had to outsmart a local tyrant. Let's see where justice really lands.